Thank you.
Somehow this was, yes. Okay, that works. Hopefully it won't fall off. Anyway, like I said, thank you again. I have listened to Travis a few times at different conventions and things like that, and got to know him a little bit last night. We had dinner and got to visit, so it was really nice. I have notes because without them, I wouldn't remember the things that I want to say. But anyway, that's how my notes work. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so Travis Robertson has made it his mission to help real estate agents build high 6- and 7-figure businesses that fund their lives and dreams. He's the CEO, founder, and master coach at Don't Settle Coaching, the real estate industry's premier coaching and training company. With one of the highest success rates in the industry, Travis's clients build businesses that are blessings to their family, dominate their market, and place them on award stages and top agents lists all around the world. And that's the world. Travis is a creator of the High Performance Agent Academy, the High Performance Team Academy, and the Real Estate Playbook. Now, he has been featured on every major stage that is in the industry. He's known for his transformational training, and that part I know about, his high energy, his authenticity, and his elite coaching. Mostly, and we talked about this last night, he's the husband to his beautiful wife, Lisa, the father to his 2 amazing girls, London and Isla. So with that, please give a great welcome, Travis Robertson.
All right. Thank you, Lance.
You bet.
Thank you very much. Good morning, guys. All right. I don't know what that's here for. So, how you guys doing? Good. So they told me I have to stay on the stage. By the way, hi people online. Great to see you guys here. And I'm doing this for you. I'm part Italian, so it's like tying half my hand behind my back is making me stay in this little platform so you guys can see me. But I'm happy to do it. Because I was like practicing this morning, like testing the room, moving around, and refresh me on your name. I'm sorry. Madison was like, "Wait, you're moving around?" I was like, "Is that not allowed?" And she's like, "No, we have a camera." I was like, "The camera doesn't move?" And she goes, "No, it doesn't move." And I was like, "Crap. Okay, I can do this. I can stay in this little 3-foot by 3-foot space, and my brain, I think, will still work just as well." So we're gonna have fun today. How many of you want to have fun? Say aye. Rest of you, what's wrong with you? Okay, we want to have fun today. We want to have a great time. I like this to be interactive. So I can go all day long. Like, my ability to speak is not in question. I can speak, no problem. I don't need you guys to like shout back and have fun, but it's way more fun for you if you do. So I know you're all in like a little mini food coma because you just ate. So let's do something. I want to get the blood up in the room. I want to get the energy up in the room. People online, you do this too. Watching you. I see you. So here's what we're going to do. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Because you just ate. I know they're like, we're going to serve breakfast. I was like, don't starve them out. Don't let them eat. But that's okay. So I know you all just ate. And so after you eat, the blood's all going to your stomach to digest all the carbohydrates that you don't normally eat. Really clean. Set them here. So I ate lots of bread. So I get it. So I know what's happening. Your stomach's like getting full, ready to go. So how many of you ever watch like boxing or mixed martial arts? Anybody watch boxing or mixed? Okay, the rest of you, what's wrong with you? Okay, football. Okay, so and Chiefs fan, there's the door back there. You can just go ahead and walk out. We don't like you here. So here's the thing. When the football team is getting ready to come out of the tunnel, when a fighter is getting ready to come out of a tunnel, what are they doing before they walk out? Show me. Okay, some of you have never watched TV before. So 2 of you actually watch sports. The rest of you claim to watch sports. What are they doing? They're bouncing, right? They're bouncing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to start bouncing. Bounce in place. Just start bouncing. Get your body loosened out. Shake it out a little bit. All right, so let's bounce. Let's bounce. We just want to bounce. I want to get the energy going. I want to get the energy going. Now, fighters, what do fighters do? Fighters throw punches, right? So I want you to just use this as a chance to punch your neighbor. Punch your neighbor. Just smack them. Now, if your neighbor's hard, smack their butt. No, don't smack your neighbor's butt. Don't do that, okay? So, some of you shit smack you can do it. Okay, so have a seat, you guys. Have a seat. Have a seat. That's a little bit better. I was doing this one time, and this guy just smacked this woman's butt, like, and she goes, and he goes, he said smack somebody's butt who's hot. I'm like, thank God you're all independent contractors. Or there'd be an HR thing going on right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. I almost take that out, but I decided to keep it in. Y'all look respectable. So, my name is Travis Robertson. I've been coaching in this space for about 15 years now. And over those years, I've had the honor and the pleasure of working with some of the top real estate agents, not just in the country, but in the world. And it's been so fun to kind of see behind the curtain and help them scale their businesses, grow their businesses. We work with some of the top agents on the Wall Street Journal, top lists. And so in doing that, in helping these agents get to that level, part of what I get the opportunity to do is not just, because we work on strategy, we work on game plan, but part of what I get the opportunity to do is see how they think, how they operate, what makes them different, how they shift, how they change, and how they handle adversity. And would you all agree that right now the real estate market has shifted? Let's see, this is going to work. There we go. Oh, here we go. All right, we've been having tech issues all morning, so we're going to, everybody, let's just say a prayer right now. Okay, so the real estate market has shifted, yes? Some of you are like, I don't know. Okay, welcome to the industry. You're brand new. So the real estate market industry has shifted. It's changed. This may be all you know, but for the rest of you, it's not all you know. You've known different markets. So the real estate market has shifted. And one of the things that it's interesting to see is how agents who are successful, how they think differently about the shift than everybody else. They think differently about it. So part of what I'm going to be sharing with you today is I'm going to show you not just how they think. I'm going to actually open up the playbook, and I'm going to show you what's working right now to build a dynamic, thriving business in a shifting market. Because I believe all of you can still hit your goals in this shifting market. You can still grow your business in a down market. You can still win when others are losing. You just have to have the right mindset and the right strategies to be able to do it. So I'm going to open everything up. I'm not holding anything back. I'm going to give you everything you need to go out and execute. Okay? So I'm going to show you all this because the real estate market has shifted. And here's what I know is that right now, a ton of agents are about to become roadkill. And I almost put a picture of roadkill on this slide, and I'm like, nah, they're finishing breakfast. So it's not like, here's a squish squirrel. How's dinner? How's breakfast, right? So I left the roadkill off, the actual roadkill. But a ton of agents are about to become roadkill in this market. In fact, we're already seeing it start to happen. The number of calls that we get from agents that are struggling right now because last year, it was hard. This year, it's harder. And they're like, man, 2020, 2021, and 2022 were great years. I'm like, wow, congratulations. You had a pulse in the greatest 3 years in real estate history. Like, good for you. But now you have to start to figure out, how do I adjust and adapt my business for what's taking place right now? And too many agents are getting wiped out because they don't have the right game plan and they don't have the right strategy. Now, there's good news to this, is that because of that, the same agents at the top going into this market will not be the same agents at the top coming out of this market. Now, if you were at the top going into it, you're like, I don't know that that's good news. You can stay there, but a lot of agents won't, because a lot of the agents who got to the top in the previous market have no idea what they actually did to get there. So they don't know how to actually stay there and grow there and then survive the shift. So what ends up happening is new agents come in, agents who weren't at the top start adapting faster, they start doing things differently, and they go, okay, I've got to shift. And so all of a sudden they become the agents at the top going into the next market. How do I know? We saw it in 2008, 2009, 2010. The number of active licensed agents dropped by about, I think it was like 40 or 50% from the top of the market to the bottom of the market, the number of active licensed agents in 08, 09, 2010, 2011. So what happened is a bunch of agents left, and there were a lot of agents struggling going into it. Well, at the end of it, coming out of it, were the ones at the top. And they're the ones that benefited from the rise up. And that's what I want for all of you, because at some point this is going to turn around. I actually believe it's going to be next year. I think 2025 is going to be a great year. Who's with me? Say aye. Aye. Some of you still aren't sure. I promise you'll know the answer to all these questions at the end of the day. So here's what I can tell you. Right now, too many agents in this business are what I call order takers. They're order takers. And this is why they're struggling, because they're sitting back waiting for the deals to come to them. Because in 2020, 2021, 2022, what did we do? We didn't sell real estate. We took orders for real estate. People are like, man, I'm amazing at taking orders. Because you are responsible for the multiple offer situations on your listing. But a lot of agents take credit for that. You are responsible for practically 0% interest rates, but we took credit for that. Like, man, I'm crushing this whole real estate game right now. No, the situation allowed for you to pick up the phone and have your friends go, oh my gosh, I know we just bought the house like 2.5 years ago, but I think we're sitting on like $8 million in equity now, and we'd like to sell and buy something else at 3.265 interest rates. And you're like, I'm amazing. And I'm glad you made money during that season. I really am. But that's order taking. It's like, welcome to RE/MAX. Can I take your order? A 4-bedroom, 3-bath house? Okay, cool. Do you want 1 story or 2? You want to supersize that? Because interest rates are really low right now. Great. You ready to write an offer? Cool. Okay, let's go do it. And that, I'm right. That's what the market was. But the ones who are winning have made the shift from order taker to sales maker. Those are the ones that are thriving right now. And I have to walk over here to change the slides because for whatever reason, technology today. So the agents who are thriving have made the shift to sales makers. That's what I call it. And I started talking with our clients about this 2 years ago. I said 2 years ago, this is coming. It's time to make the shift. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So how do you know if you've been an order taker? Oh, by the way, this is going to sting some of you. Some of you are going to hate me. But real quick, how many of you brought something to take notes with? Okay. The rest of you are screwed. So here's what I'm going to give you all the slides. I'm going to get you all that stuff. But turn to a responsible person and ask if they have a pen, a piece of paper, and a pen to take notes. Because this is a note-taking session today. Voice memo? Like just straight up recording my entire presentation? That sounds, I don't know. Probably not. So how do you know you've been an order taker? Let's take a look. Here's the clues. Number 1, this is going to sting. By the way, I'm going to slaughter some sacred cows here today. Buckle up. You work primarily only by referral. And everybody clutches their pearls. But this is what I was told to do. I'm never too busy for your referrals. I'm always ready for your referrals. I build my business just off of referrals. I'm never too busy for referrals. It's all about referrals. But here's the problem. I'm going to show you today that this is actually one of the worst ways to build your business for the long term. I want you to get as many referrals as possible. People think I hate referrals. I don't hate referrals. People online, please hear me. I heart referrals. I love referrals. Love referrals. But as a business strategy, this is a problem. Because what ends up happening is we love referrals because who does the selling for us? The referrer. So let's say you got a best friend, Betty, and Betty's like your top referrer. And every time Betty hears somebody needs to buy or sell real estate, Betty's like, oh my gosh, you need to call Margie. Margie's amazing. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've sold, like, I've worked with Margie for like my last 5 homes. And she's awesome. And she's amazing. And you need to call her. Don't even call anybody else. Just call Margie. She's going to take great care of you. And so they call you. Who was the salesperson? Margie. So they call you and you're like, hey, what's going on? Hi, Margie said I need to call you. Said you've helped her with like the last 5 homes you've done. Or Betty, whatever, Betty, Margie, whatever. But you know what I'm saying. Trying to keep them all straight. A lot of players in this game. So, but all of a sudden they're like, Betty said I need to call you because you're awesome. You're like, oh yeah, when can we get together and talk about what you're wanting to do? You took the order. And I want you to get as many of those as possible, but I'm going to show you in a little bit why that's a problem for actual business growth. Because ultimately, you can't control or predict referrals. So when somebody goes, oh, like 90% of my business, 100% of my business is from referrals and past clients, I go, doesn't that scare you? Because if I were to ask you in the next 30 days, exactly how many referrals are you going to get? What's the only honest answer? No idea. No idea. And that doesn't scare you? Well, how many past clients are going to reach out about selling or buying in the next 30 days? Not enough. That's the other one we hear. No idea, not enough. And so I want you to get as many as possible, but if you're just getting those, you're just taking orders. Next thing, oops, got to be over here. Have no control or predictability in lead flow. If you can't control or predict your business or lead flow, what can't you control or predict? Your income. What's the biggest complaint about real estate? Feast, famine, roller coaster. Why? Because what's happening to lead flow? Feast, famine, roller coaster. So if we want to get off the income roller coaster, we have to get off the lead flow roller coaster. If we want to get off the lead flow roller coaster, we ultimately have to get off the only by referral roller coaster. Get as many as possible, but know how to generate business, generate leads from other sources. And I'll show you how to do that today. They prefer only the warmest of opportunities. And this makes sense. Referrals are awesome. Past clients are great because they're warm, they're comfortable. I don't have to really sell anything. They're pre-sold. It's great. So cold, lukewarm, online leads, those suck. Those are terrible. They're uncomfortable. I get it. I'm going to change all that for you today. Then, they don't like to have uncomfortable conversations. A lot of people who work only by referral, order takers, tend to dislike uncomfortable conversations. What are the uncomfortable conversations? Hey, why should I choose you? Why should I pick you over another agent? Why should you be my buyer's agent versus another agent? Aren't you all the same? Why should I pay you 3% on the buy side? Shouldn't the seller pay that? How's that going to work out? So all of a sudden, the uncomfortable conversations kick up when somebody doesn't come pre-sold on you. So now you're having to have different conversations. You're having to objection handle. You're having to answer questions that you don't normally have to answer, and it gets really uncomfortable. And I get it. You don't have to stay there, but I understand it. They don't like to call or follow up on colder leads. So it's like, I called them and they didn't call me back. Online leads suck. Lead gen sources suck. Because I called them and they didn't call me back. And it's like, oh, really? Have you ever filled out a form on a website where you actually wanted them to call you and then they called you, but you were in the middle of something else? Has that ever happened, or is it just me? Just me, right? And so what happens is if somebody doesn't keep calling me, I get frustrated with them because I'm like, how badly do you not want my business? I filled out the form for a reason. I just happened to be in a meeting when you called, or I happened to be on a plane when you called, or I happened to be on stage when you called. Call back. It's not my job to chase you down as the company. It's your job to chase me down as the client. I shouldn't have to try too hard to be your client or customer or whatever the service is that I'm reaching out to. Either you want my business or you don't. I have a life. I have other things. It's your job to follow up with me, not my job to follow up with you. That's sales. Also, they have no game plan for long-term lead and client nurturing. We'll talk a bit about this today. And they love free. They don't like to invest in their business, and they're feeling the shift the hardest right now. And I'll explain this more in a little bit. Now, here's the thing. People always tell me, but man, it was doing so well for me, working only by referral. And I understand that, because in a strong bullish market, even bad strategies can yield good results. You ever heard the phrase, a rising tide lifts all ships? That's what happened in 2020, 2021, and 22. A rising tide lifted all ships. And so anything pretty much that people were doing was working, and they confused a good strategy for just being in a good market. So a great market, we were in a great market. Let's be honest, we were in a great market. And it lifted everybody regardless of strategy. So now as the tide is shifting, you're starting to figure out who can sail. I love how Warren Buffett said it. He's a great philosopher. Then only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked. He's from Omaha, so I assume he actually says naked. But it's true. If the tide's going out, you're starting to realize who doesn't have a real game plan for how to win in this new market, in this new reality. So that's what I want to do today. I'm going to show you what a sales maker is. See, a sales maker loves when orders show up, but they don't depend on them. They create control and predictability in their lead flow. They work with a variety of lead temperatures, cold to hot. It doesn't matter. All I'm trying to do is find the people that I'm here to serve so that I can serve them, so that I can help them, so that I can hit my goals and make the money that I want to make. Ultimately, they're willing to have uncomfortable conversations. They have a game plan for long-term lead and client nurturing. Man, this is so finicky. They love ROI. They invest in their business, and they're getting excited about the shift right now. See, they think in terms of return on investment. You know what's really interesting? So I actually did the research for you. So it's probably like 6 months ago, I had a really great business idea. And I was like, babe, I think I have a really good idea. She's like, what's that? I was like, money printing. Like, I think we should get printers and print money. She's like, pretty sure that's illegal. I'm like, I'm going to Google it. So I Googled it. It turns out money printing is illegal, just in case you were wondering. You can't print money. Just kidding. I didn't have to Google that. Some of you are like, wow, you're an idiot. So no, but I want you to think about this. Money printing is illegal until it's not. See, if you knew there were strategies where you could put $1 into your business and get $4 out, how many dollars would you put into your business? All of them, right? Because when you think in return on investment, what you start doing is going, if I put these dollars to work, can I get the dollars back out, but get more dollars on the other side of it? I don't need things to be free. I need to put money into something and then get money out. So if I build the systems right, if you do what I teach you today, you're actually going to have a legal money printing machine, because you'll put dollars in and more dollars will come out on the other side of it. And you're going to be like, where can I find more dollars to put back into the machine? Because now I know that $1 in gets me $4 out, or $6 out, or $7 out. And now I can start thinking differently about my business, because I'm not trying to figure out how do I race to the bottom of costs. I'm trying to figure out how do I race to the top of investment. That's where real financial freedom comes in. That's where it comes in. So that's what I want to show you how to do. So let's do this, because everybody always asks, so do you mean cold calling, door knocking, old school strategies? No, you can do those things. We have clients that do those things. You don't have to. None of what I'm going to talk about today is any of that. So if you like to do that thing, God bless you. But you don't have to make this work. And I'll show you strategies that you can use today. It will actually help you. So talk about making the shift from order taker to sales maker. How do you make that move from one side to the other? Now, real quick, because I told you I want to get you a bunch of stuff today. We have a whole success kit we've put together. Scan the QR code. You're going to get all the slides because I promise you, you're going to want all the slides. There's scripts in the slides. There's like diagrams in the slides. You want to grab that. Do that real quick. There's a 2025 business planning guide, 45-minute coaching session we're going to give you guys for free that we can kind of go through your business plan, talk through what your goals are, help you figure out like what is it going to take to get there, what do you need to fix in the business. We'll actually work with you on that, and then anything else I promised today. So if you scan that QR code, put your name, your email address, and your phone number in there, and then what that will do is that will send you everything after we're done here today, because I'll probably promise more today, so my team doesn't send anything out until after I'm done. So then I can say, I promise this, so can you get them that as well? So just sign up, and then as soon as we're done, as soon as I connect with the team, we'll get all of that stuff out to you so you have everything you need, okay? So that's how you can get all of this. And if you don't know how to use a QR code, turn to somebody next to you who looks like under the age of 30 and they'll help you. So it's not working? Oh, my team is fired. Server can't be found? Oh, it works for her. Wow. Might be the internet. I'll pop this up a couple more times today, so don't worry if you can't get it right now, but we'll make sure we get it to you, okay? So here's number one. How do you make the shift from order taker to sales maker? Number one is you have to shift the way you think. Shift the way you think. Because I can teach you all the strategies in the world, but if you don't change the way you think, all the strategies in the world won't fix your problem. It won't fix anything. In fact, I tell people this all the time. If I took an agent who was making $100,000 a year and I handed them a real estate business that was grossing $1 million a year, in 2 years, how much would that business grossing $1 million a year make? $100,000 a year. Because it was never the business that was the problem. It was the business operator that was the problem. They were $100,000 level thinkers and operators. So what we need to do is we need to change you to a sales maker, help you move along the spectrum. And it doesn't matter if you're all the way over here or all the way over here on the sales maker side, or maybe you're kind of like, oh, I'm somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter. I can help you close that gap, but you have to understand how to think. So right now, your biggest asset or liability is your belief about the real estate market. It's your biggest asset or liability is your belief about the market. And you know what I've heard from a lot of agents? Man, I wouldn't want to be a buyer right now. Really? Yeah. It's just, man, it'd be so tough to be a buyer right now. Why do you say that? Oh, interest rates, inventory, you know, it's just tough. I wouldn't want to be a seller right now. Really? But you want buyers or sellers, right? Oh, yeah. And if somebody would ask you, is now a good time to be a buyer or seller? Oh, it's a great time to be a buyer. Great time to be a seller. But what happens is there's the what do I say when somebody asks? And then there's the what do I say when it's just me and my friends or my family or the people in my office. And I'm like, it's so tough out there right now. So hard out there right now. And it's this is what I'll say in public, but here's what I'm going to say in private. And if they don't align, can people start to sense that? You ever worked with a salesperson who you're like, you don't believe a single word you're saying? I was at like Costco. Like I like to buy my TVs from Costco because they're huge. And so I was at Costco one time, and I'm looking at like these giant TVs, and it's the only way Lisa can get me to go to Costco, like that and the samples. Like I'll go for the samples and the electronics. Like that's it. I'm not looking at anything else. So I go collect samples, and I go stare at the 250-inch TVs or whatever they are. So they're great. And so I'm looking at the TVs, and the sales guy walks over and he's like, hey, what you looking at? I was like, this. And I was like, what can you tell me about it? He's like, that thing's nice. Like, thank you, Captain Obvious. Like, that's great. And he's like, it's got like lots of ports on it to like hook in your stuff. And it's got like QLED. He's like reading off the sign. And I was like, what's the difference between this one and that one? And he just starts making stuff up. He's literally making stuff up. I'm like, you have no clue what you're actually saying. No clue what you're actually talking about. You're making things up. And what starts to happen is we start to figure it out. It's like when you walk into a room, you ever walked into a room where two people have been fighting, but they don't want you to know they've been fighting? You're like, going over to maybe people are coming over to your house and the doorbell rings. You're like, oh my gosh, Joe and Johnny are here. Like, let's go open the door. You open the door and they're like, hey. You're like, oh, they've been fighting. They hate each other. Oh, but everybody's faking it. Hey, it's a great time to buy. Great time to sell. You want to sell, please? And people pick up on that. Because if our beliefs don't match our words, that's called incongruence. And people can start to pick up on salespeople who are incongruent between what they're saying and what they believe. And I want you to be people of congruence. So here's the interesting thing. I want to show you this. This is over the last 18 months. I've just documented some of the things that I've heard as I've talked with people over the travels that I've done. Here's what I've heard. And I'm not going to go through them all. But like, my business is drying up. Don't know where the next client's going to come from. The market's going to crash. I just know it. I was on TikTok the other day, and there's this economist, and he was saying that, like, you're listening to an economist on TikTok? Like market's going to crash. Like, that's where you're getting your economic news, is TikTok. And look, there's a guy, I'm not even going to say his name. He's an absolute jackhole, so I'm not going to tell you his name, but he literally makes his living predicting the crash of the real estate market day after day after day after day, and he's been doing it since 2018. He was predicting the crash of the real estate market in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. He's still predicting the crash of the real estate market in 2024. And here's what's interesting. If anybody listened to him, what did they miss? They missed the greatest run on real estate in the history of Earth. But he's on TikTok. He's on YouTube. He's got a large following, and he's an idiot. And so I'm not going to say his name. But he's a sensationalist, and he makes his money by driving fear. So where are you getting? But this is what I hear. I know the economy is going to crater. It's the election. I get it. I wouldn't want to be a buyer seller right now. There's not enough business for all the agents. Fewer homes are selling. It's already happening. I've heard all this. And then I know those same agents will turn around and go, but it's a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell. Versus, here's what I've heard from our clients. Documented all this stuff. Real estate is an incredible, by the way, are all these things true? Most of it. Yeah. Are fewer homes selling? Yes. Are things down a little bit? Yes. But here's what's interesting. Real estate is an incredible hedge against inflation. True or false? True. Very true. Very few, if any, reputable economists are predicting a crash in real estate. True or false? Cooling, not crashing. I can't wait for some of the low quality agents to get out. Please with me on that one. Say aye. Right? You're in a RE/MAX, so you don't have to worry about that too much. But I won't say the other companies. Anyway, so we're just waiting for them to clear out. People always need to buy or sell. True or false? We're just returning to a normal market. True or false? Here's my favorite. More homes will sell in my market than I could possibly handle by myself. True or false? There will always be enough for you to hit your goals. You're never going to be like, I've captured 100% of the market share. Nailed it. I'm it. All my billboards, all my ads, all my listings, all my signs. I'm awesome. If you capture 100% of your market's too small, and you need to branch outside of just selling your own home. Just throwing that out there. There's plenty to go around for the great agents. This is when people search out great agents, not just any agent. This is even when interest rates were at 18%, people still bought homes. True or false? How many of you remember that? Okay. And you helped Moses, and he was awesome. I love it. Just dated yourself, Lance. It's like, and then I helped Jesus, and he was great. You know, it's like, I remember we wiped our sandals at the door. It was great. So the fundamentals are very different than 2008. I'm so glad I know how to control my lead flow. Thank God I have a coach and community to support me. I've heard all these things over the same window of time. Now, it's an obvious question. It's a rhetorical question, but which agent has the best chance of thriving? I think we all know it's agent 2. It's agent 2. See, Henry Ford said it this way: whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Agent 1 will struggle. Agent 2 will win. Both exist in the exact same market. The only difference, apart from strategy, is how they approach the game. But I could hand the same strategies to Agent 1 and Agent 2, and only one of them is going to win. Even if Agent 1 does the work, they're going to do the work from the wrong perspective, from the wrong belief, and it won't work because they got in the way of the actual results. And it's okay, by the way, to have Agent 1 moments. I'm not saying you have to perfectly live in Agent 2 world all the time. There are days. Are there bad days in real estate? Yeah. Are there bad days as a business owner? Yeah. You know, we signed up to just get kicked in the groin and punched in the face. And there are days we get kicked in the groin and punched in the face. And on those days, I'm like, this is great. I don't do that. I'm like, this sucks. But I don't have to stay here. I can own what it is. I can recognize what it is. And I can have my moments in Agent 1 thinking, but I don't want to spend too much time there. I don't want to get back to the Agent 2 level way of thinking and operating. That's what we want to do. That's how we want to make that shift. So next thing you're going to do is you're going to shift the way you create leads. Shift the way you create leads. And this is how we're going to move from order taker over to sales maker. Is we're actually going to generate leads. We're going to create lead flow in our business. Because as you create lead flow, now you create opportunities. So what does this look like? You have to ask this question: how am I going to generate new leads into my pipeline? How will I generate new leads into my pipeline? Where are they going to come from? What are the strategies that are going to work? And if you're not putting new leads into the pipeline, you're always at the mercy of somebody else sending you business. That's a really scary place to live. So here's where I just finish off the referral myth. You should only work by referral. Here's the truth, and I have the numbers to back it up, is that you should never get more than 60 to 70% of your business from repeat or referral sources in an up market. An up market. Are we in an up market right now? No. Which means you actually need to almost reverse these. Let me tell you why. It has to do with simple math. So in 08, 09, 2010, 2011, we saw something interesting. It was a very interesting case study in a market that was roaring and all of a sudden came to a screeching halt. Fundamentals are very different. So I'm not saying we're going to do the same thing, but I want you to understand what happened is during that window, referral business, repeat business dried up for most agents, a minimum of 50%, upwards of 85% of their referrals and their past client businesses went away. So let's just run the math on this real quick. Let's say, and I have to use real round figures because I'm not that smart. I can't do math in my head. So let's say you were doing 20 deals a year. 20 deals a year. And let's say you were like a lot of agents who they get 90% of their business from past clients and repeat business. That's where 90% of most agents' business comes from. Past clients, referrals, 90%. So you take that 20, that means that 18 deals came from your sphere of influence, past clients, referrals. 2 deals may have come from a sign call or an open house or something else that they did, and they actually followed up on the leads, or at least the leads were very responsive and picked up the phone, and that's why they got it. So 2 deals from outside the sphere, 18 deals from inside the sphere. Now, business is rolling along. You're doing great. You're doing your 20 deals a year, 18 past client referrals. All of a sudden, the market takes a dive. Repeat referral is the first bit of business to dry up in a shifting market, is the first bit of business to dry up. Because people are good. People are great. So let's say it decreases by just 50% the next year. Now, all of a sudden, that 18 deals drops to what? 9. And assuming you keep 2 additional deals from outside, assuming, that's a big assumption. Because for a lot of agents, they don't even get 2 deals from outside the sphere of influence past client. But let's just assume they do. So now they go for, so they have 9 deals plus 2, that's 11. They go from 20 down to 11 in a single year. Their business decreases, but in 2008, 29, 10, 11, prices dropped. So their gross commission income on those deals dropped. So it wasn't just a 50% decrease in income. It was like a 60, 70, 80% decrease in income. That's why we saw so many of them get washed out. So if you have another source of business that in an up market, work your referrals, work your sphere of influence, get as many of those as possible. But for the love of all things holy, have something else that is generating business that you can control, that you can throttle up, throttle back, so that when, not if, when repeat referrals start slowing down, you know that I've got other sources that I can start to ramp up to offset the decrease over here. If that makes sense, say yes. This is why it is so dangerous for people to go, well, I only work by referral. Please stop. Because I want you to have a very successful, profitable business. But it's going to come from having lead sources that you can ramp up as one thing is dropping. Because the risk is, if you don't have that, is your income's dropping, it's a lot harder to feel confident to go out and invest in lead flow from someplace else, because you're like, I don't have any money anymore. But if you're doing it throughout, you just know, like, okay, I can control it. I can pull it back. I don't need to put as much money into it right now. It's 2020, 2021, 2022. It's a roaring market. I can pull back my investment, still keep some there, but I can pull it way back because I don't need it right now. But I always know I can put it back there and up it if I need it, if I start to see things leveling off, or if I start to see things dropping. That's how business owners think. That's how I want you thinking. So it comes down to control versus influence. Control versus influence. See, referrals, you cannot control. You can influence referrals, but you cannot control them. Well, I want to ask you, exactly how many referrals will you get in the next 30 days? The only honest answer is, I don't know. I don't know. I hope sometimes, well, I hope it's like 2 or 3, but I don't know. Or it's not enough. Because I can't call Betty, my greatest referrer, and be like, hey, Betty, I'm going to need 3 more referrals right now, Betty. Right now. Names, Betty. They better want to sell, Betty. Like, I can't do that. I can't force Betty to send me referrals if she doesn't have referrals, if people aren't transacting in the same way. I can influence it and say, hey, Betty, who do you know that if they could get the price they want for their home might be interested in selling right now? I can ask, and that influences, but I can't control. So if I have sources that I can control, then I'm in a position where I can throttle it up and throttle it down. So what I want to do is I want to get you to the point where you can control and predict in a 30-day window how many clients you're going to be getting, or leads you're going to be getting in a 30-day window. If you can control and predict, and they're 2 different things. I may be able to predict how many leads I might get in a 30-day window, but I can't always control it. I may be able to control it 60 days out or 90 days out, depending on the strategy. but some strategies have much more short-term control and predictability. Others have long-term predictability or short-term predictability, but long-term control. And I'll give you some examples of each of these, okay? So agents who are thriving in today's market, they've created control over the lead flow, not just influence. If you talk to our best clients, the ones on the Wall Street Journal list, and I ask them, I could text them right now, Jason, in the next 30 days, how many leads are you going to get? He could give me a number, a range, like, 175 to 200 or 95 to 110. Whatever it is, he knows. I could ask any of our agents on that list, how many leads are you going to get in the next 30 days? Boom, they can tell me. Because they can control and predict it. That's what I want for you. So how do you pick your lead strategies? And I'm going to give you 4 that I love right now. I'm going to give you 4 lead strategies that are working really well. But I want to help you understand this, because if you understand how to pick your lead strategies, you can start to evaluate different opportunities that exist, start adding to your business. So there's 6 factors of lead flow. 6 factors of lead flow. All of these are important at different times, but you can never have all 6 at one time. You're always going to be playing with a combination of these 6. So you have to ask yourself, based on my situation, what makes the most sense. So the first is speed. How quickly can the strategy begin to work? So if you're in a position where you're like, I need business right now, don't do direct mail, right? Because it's not going to work. Sphere of influence, past clients, not going to work if you need business right now. In fact, this is where I think we do new agents the biggest disservice of any industry I've ever encountered. Because a new agent comes in and they're like, I'm so excited to be in real estate. Oh my gosh, I love houses and I love people. This is awesome. And all the experienced agents are like, child, give us a year. You're going to hate both houses and people. It's going to be great. Like, you can tell the new agents because they're still smiling. They're like, this is amazing. But they come in and they're like, how do I get clients? And we say things like, let everybody know you're in real estate. Okay, and then what? Send them a letter. Okay, but then what? Oh, post on Facebook that you're in real estate. Okay, but then what? Cool, I don't know. Like, go join the chamber. Get in the Rotary Club. Okay, but then, like, how long is that going to take? Probably a year, maybe 2, 5, I don't know. And we take these brand new agents who are so excited to be here, and we give them strategies that won't meet their immediate needs. So if you need things right now, you have to use strategies that work right now to generate leads and generate opportunities. So speed is a real big problem. 2, time. How much time has to be invested? See, if you're successful, if you've got a great business, you've got a great team, your time generally pretty limited. So if a strategy takes a lot of time, you're like, I can't do this one. But if you're brand new, what do you have a lot of? Time. So you can do strategies that take more time because you have more time to invest. Same with speed. You need it to work now, and I've got time. I ain't got money. You're like a country song. You know, I got no money, I got no car, but I got my time, and I want to get a closing. Like, cool. Like, we can help you if you're willing to do the work, because we can show you things that are fast, that don't take a lot of time, and that don't cost a lot of money, or no money at all. Number 3, cost. How much does the strategy cost? Again, if you're brand new, you don't have typically funds to invest. If you've been at this for a while, a lot of times you have money to invest because you don't have time, so you're going to put money into strategies, and that can help for you. Predictability. Can you accurately predict how many leads you will get in a 30-day window? Not every strategy has to have predictability in a 30-day window, but you got to get predictability in a 30-day window. And then when you don't need that, you can do other strategies, like one of the ones I'm going to teach you today, which is not going to give you predictability in a 30-day window right now. But once it starts working, you get a lot of predictability and low control, but it's a great, great strategy. Control, but you got to have other things in there first. Control. Can you control the flow of leads within a 30-day window? This is different. Can I alter it? So if I start a month and man, I need to increase my lead flow this month. Can I do it with this strategy? Yes or no? Direct mail? No. YouTube? No. Paid advertising? Yes. Google ads? Yes. Facebook ads? Yes. So there's different layers of this. Quality. And I almost didn't put this on there. I always debate leaving quality on this list, but I do put it on here because I think a lot of times quality gets blamed for poor agent activity. They blame the leads for them not doing the work. So how were the leads created and how long ago were they generated? That can impact the quality of a lead, but not always. A lot of times it's just the agent who doesn't have the right strategies in place to actually convert the leads. And so they blame the lead quality for a follow-up problem. They go, well, online leads suck. No, your follow-up plan sucks. Your follow-up game sucks. It's not their fault. They didn't call you back. It's not their fault. You didn't follow up with them. It's your fault. So don't blame the leads. But there are some low-quality lead sources out there. So you do want to be aware of them. That's why I put it on the list, but it's down on the list because I don't think it's the most important. It almost didn't make the cut, but I left it on there. So there's 4 control strategies that are working right now. I want to walk you through them. Number 1, Z-Buyer leads. Z-Buyer leads. Anybody ever tried Z-Buyer? Anybody? Oh, okay. Love Z-Buyer. Love Z-Buyer. And if you want to get a discount, go to zbuyerleads.pro. You get a discount. I think I make like $10 if you sign up using that link. I don't really care. It's that you make a lot on the discount if you want to sign up for Z-Buyer. I could care less about the $10 I make if you sign up. It's just being honest here. So it's not like I make a lot of money on this. So Z-Buyer leads, though, is awesome. And I would recommend it even if I didn't make money. They just send me a check. So here's what happens. Z-Buyer leads has 2 types of leads that they're going to give you. And I'm going to tell you the difference. One is you're going to sign up for Z-Buyer and then they generate leads. It's called Z-Buyer leads, but they actually generate listing leads and buyer leads. And so the listing leads are cash offer leads. Those are great leads if you know how to work them. The buyer leads are buyers who are looking for a great deal in the market. Those are great leads because a great deal doesn't mean cheap. We have clients who've landed $1.5 million deals off of the I'm looking for a cheap deal in the market. So Z-Buyer leads is awesome. So they're going to generate new leads every month. So what you're paying for is new leads, a certain amount of new leads every month from either a cash offer lead or I'm looking for deals. And you can do buyer and seller leads or just buyer leads or just seller leads. You can mix and match. It's totally fine. And just depends on your budget. And they actually are pretty inexpensive to start. I'm not going to say what it is in this market because it does fluctuate a little by each market, but it's really an inexpensive way to get started. But here's where the magic in Z-Buyer happens. So every month you're going to be getting new leads. But what they're also going to do is based on the amount of money you're spending, they're literally going to hand you a stack, hundreds of leads that are 6 months or older. And you go, well, why is that good? Here's why. When a lead comes in, what is the average length of time before they're ready to buy or sell? 6 to 26 months. This is why people struggle with online leads because they're not referrals. Referrals, when a referral calls, they're more of a right now opportunity. We're thinking of selling right now. We're thinking of buying right now. But leads, when they're filling out forms on a website, they are oftentimes 6 to 26 months out from being ready to buy or sell. When do most agents need deals? 6 to 26 days ago. So there's a mismatch between the leads needs and your needs, and that's why people go, online leads suck. But here's the beauty. Z-Buyer hands you a whole bunch of people that are like, hey, these people have aged into the sweet spot. Do you want to call them? You don't have to, but here you go. Do you know where the most amount of money our clients make off of Z-Buyer is? We call them the old leads. It's on those old leads. They call down and they work those old leads. And they don't even treat it like cold calling. We just treat it like they're following back up, like, hey, it's been a number of months since you reached out. True. I didn't say you reached out to me. It's been a number of months since you reached out. Checking back in with you, see where things are at. And you know what? People are like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called. Some people are like, go bleep yourself. And you're like, it doesn't physically work that way, ma'am. And so, some of you will get that joke later. But are they my ideal client anyway? No. All you have to do is go, thank you so much for making it really easy to identify that you're not my ideal client. Have a great day. God bless. Send them on their way. Because I'm not here for everybody. I'm here for the right buddies. I'm here to serve the people that are my ideal client. If somebody's going to swear at me and yell at me because I'm following up with them, they're probably not my ideal client. Just going to throw that out there, and probably not yours. Some of you are like, I love those people because you're from New York. You're like, I am those people, eh? You're like, good, great, you can serve them. Somebody needs to serve them because it's not me. So I love ZBuyer leads because you're going to get the new leads coming in every month, but then you're going to get this stack of old leads that you can just call down and you can work down. And that is where the bulk of the money is made on ZBuyer. And our clients who are they're like, I can't believe it's this easy. Like, it's hard work, but it's easy. They don't have to overthink it. So it's a really, really great strategy. Number 2, Google Ads. I absolutely love Google Ads. The number 1 source of leads for our top producing clients. Number 1 source of leads, Google Ads. Number 1, hands down, flat out, not even close. Gives them the most control, most predictability. But you got to work them correctly, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. Now, here's the key. Do not try and run Google Ads yourself. I know how to do it. I know how to train it. I've trained it before to our clients just so they understand it. But honestly, use your CRM provider. And if you have a CRM provider that doesn't run Google Ads, find a new CRM provider. Thankfully, you guys have access to KV Core because you work with Remax. KV Core is actually one of the best companies at running Google Ads. They're very good at it. You let them do it. They have a vested interest in you winning on their platform. So when they run the Google Ads, they do a really good job running Google Ads. You have to babysit it. Like, don't just be like, here's my money and hope they work out. Like, you got to babysit it, make sure they're doing things right. But they do a really, really good job. If you're not on KV Core and you're like, yeah, but I was using another platform before that, maybe you're on YLoco, maybe you're on Lofty, which is another one. Lofty is another one of my big favorites. KV Core and Lofty are my 2 favorites right now. Sync is another one. All these companies are really good at running Google Ads. Never, ever, ever, and please write this down, star it, circle it, underline it. Never, ever, ever, look at me, ever use a third-party ad management company. Ever. So companies that call you and are like, hey, we'll run your Google Ads for you. Don't use them. Why? The vast majority are either shams. Like, there's some that just spin up. They operate under a Delaware LLC or a Wyoming LLC, so you can't figure out who it is. They push a bunch of fake reviews, fake testimonials onto the website. We've identified a number of these. And then as soon as the Google reviews get bad enough, they take all the money, they shut the business down, and they spin up another one under another name, and they do it all over again. Do not use these third-party companies. Stick with the CRM providers. They're reputable. They have a great team to do it. It might be a little bit more than what these other companies are going to say they're going to charge you, but you will never be steered wrong by the CRM providers. They're really good at doing that. Everybody understand that? Like, they're just some absolutely awful, awful people in that online advertising space. Number 3, this is my favorite free strategy. It's my favorite free strategy we teach. It's called buying old leads. Buying old leads. So if I were a brand new agent in a new market where I knew absolutely nobody, and if you're not in that situation, you can still do this. But let's say you're like, man, I need leads and I need deals and I don't know where to get leads and deals. Here's what I would do. You could drop me in any market right now and I would identify. And by the way, you're in Remax, which means you have a huge advantage on this, because you have a lot of great agents in here who have bought leads in the past, and who don't have time to work them. So what I would do is I would go to those agents, and I would even go outside of the company if I develop relationships with other people, and I'd say, hey, I have an idea. Why don't you let me work all of your old leads? I'll call them, I'll work them. There's a whole strategy and game plan to this so that it works out for everybody. I don't have time to get into it, but I'm giving you the high level here, which is I'm going to work the old leads. And then anything I close, I'll give you 20% on, 30% on, whatever it is. We work out a deal because they're right now making 100% of nothing. So they can all of a sudden start collecting referral checks off leads they're not even working. And I'm going to be finding those leads. I'm just going to say, give me all your leads that are 6 months or older. Why 6 months or older? Because the average online lead is anywhere from 6 to 26 months. So I want them in the sweet spot. So you work all the new ones. You work all the new ones that come in. Just hand me all the old ones, and I'll work all the old ones, and I'll send you a cut of what I'm doing. There's a whole way to do it, whole way to approach it, and then there's a whole way to approach those leads once you have them. But this right here, we had a client in Las Vegas, and young kid. He's like 21 years old when he started coaching with us, and he looked 12. Like, he was 21. I'm like, you probably can't even go to the casinos. You get kicked out. Like, you live in Vegas. And his name's Jaden. And I was like, Jaden, there's no way they're even going to let you into the casinos. He goes, I have a pretty hard time. He goes, everybody thinks my idea is fake. But he was a brand new agent. He's like, none of my friends are buying and selling real estate. I don't know how to do this. And I said, here's what I want to work with you on. I want you to do the buying old lead strategy. Here's the game plan. So I put this whole game plan together, and he didn't have a lot of agents in his office. I said, you don't have to work with agents in your office. You can work with agents in any brand, any office. It doesn't matter. Here's how you do it. Here's how you approach it. Here's how you set it up. So a couple of weeks go by, and he hasn't been to a group call. And all of a sudden he jumps on, and we're doing celebrations and wins and all that. And he's like, raises his hand. I was like, hey, what's up, Jaden? And he's like, you're never going to believe this. He goes, I've been doing the buying old lead strategy. He goes, I've got 4,000 leads to call on. I was like, bro, like, that's amazing. Like, fantastic job. Like, great job. He's like, man, this is like, I went from 0 to I have 4,000 names in a database that I can be calling on and working. And he's getting all pumped. He's getting all excited. I was like, great job, man. Like, go get him. Disappears for a couple of weeks. Like, hey, Jaden, you doing all right? He's like, man, I'm so good, so good. I was like, cool. Well, you come into the group call tomorrow? He's like, yeah, I'll be there. Jumps on the group call. And Jaden, you want to celebrate? He's like, oh, man, Travis, I got to tell you. He goes, I'm crushing it with this old lead strategy. I said, really? Tell me about that. And he goes, I have 10,000 leads now. I was like, that's awesome. Can I ask you a question, Jaden? He goes, yeah, man. I was like, have you called any of them yet? He's like, no, man. I'm just like stacking leads. I'm like, I appreciate the hustle, man. Like, I appreciate the hustle. However, how much money are you making on those 10,000 leads now? He's like, none. I said, would you like to? Or are you collecting leads, or are you trying to get, opportunities to sell homes? And he goes, opportunities to sell homes. I said, great. You are not allowed to call any more agents and buy their leads at all. Like, you're done. You're cut off. You're like a Vegas junkie that I am. Like, you're cut off from the slots and the tables. Like, you have a gambling addiction. Like, we're cutting you off. You're done. Now I need you to take all that effort and that energy, and I want you to start calling down the leads. And he goes, okay, cool. Which ones do I start with? I said, the ones with the lowest split. And he goes, oh, that makes sense. So he starts calling on the ones where he worked out the lowest split that he would have to pay out. And he starts calling down these. He comes back the next week and he goes, Travis, you'll never believe. I said, please tell me you didn't buy more leads. And he goes, no. He said, I've picked up 2 listings and 3 buyers in the last week just working other people's old leads. I was like, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. And he goes, and here's the crazy thing. The agents that I was doing that for called me and asked me if I wanted more leads to work. And I said, see, Jaden, you didn't have to keep buying other people's leads. You just have to produce And all of a sudden, people will start sending you their deals because it's better to make 20 or 30 or 40% of something than 100% of nothing. But you have to know how to do it. You have to know how to, and so now you switched from how do I acquire the leads to now how do I work them? And I said, you're following the script, you're following the process, keep that up. That's the power of buying old leads. It's such a great strategy and it costs you absolutely nothing out of pocket. Nothing out of pocket. It's the fastest way to go from 0 leads to hundreds of leads, or in Jaden's case, 10,000 leads in a very short window of time. But don't go up that high. Please don't. You'll never be able to work unless you have a team. Oops. Come on. There we go. Number 4, organic YouTube. This is what I call modern farming. Anybody doing organic YouTube? Like legit on your YouTube channel, pumping out content on your YouTube channel? Anybody? Okay. How many of you want YouTube to just send you leads every month? Okay, come on, guys. Like, I promise you want this. You absolutely want this. This is one of the best strategies out there. In fact, if you're paying money for direct mail, I would encourage you shift all your money into investing into YouTube. It's way better than direct mail. And organic YouTube is where you're pumping out content that is relevant to your market. There's very simple ways to do it where it actually doesn't take as much time as people think, but you're putting out content on your channel consistently and regularly. And I show our clients how to take one video, turn it into 5 extra, 7 extra videos so that they're getting a video out each day, but all they had to do was record one video. It's relevant to their audience and they're getting found on searches. Google or YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world. I think we all know that. And as people are searching on Google, Google is pulling in YouTube videos to show people content from YouTube in Google searches. So Google's doing all the heavy lifting to drive traffic to your channel if it's relevant to people that are looking and researching neighborhoods and areas and communities and schools and parks and recreation and restaurants in your community. And if you know how to structure the content, it's very, very simple strategy. You can have all these YouTube videos up. You can redo them pretty much every single year. Like, here's my favorite neighborhoods in 2024. Here's my favorite neighborhoods in Des Moines in 2025. And you have all these things. And then you compare builders, you compare neighborhoods from one neighborhood to another. What's the difference living in this part of town versus this part of town? It is such a great strategy. But here's the thing. Once it's up and running, once it's going, you will just be getting free leads every single month from YouTube if you do it well. And so Google, in my opinion, YouTube is the new version of farming. It's way better than direct mail, way better than door knocking, way better than, throwing community events. I'm not saying you shouldn't do some of those things. If you want to do community events, do community events. But if you want something that is literally generating leads for you while you sleep, organic YouTube. You don't have to pay for advertising on YouTube. You don't have to create, an advertising budget for YouTube. All you have to do is get over fear of video and realize that everybody has it when they first start. And nobody knows what you're supposed to look like. Nobody knows what you're supposed to say. Nobody cares. They just want the information. And if you're there to help them and you bring a personality and you get better as you do it, like anything else, how many of you were so awesome from the day you first became a realtor? Just one. Just one. And that's statistically about right? So, but your first deal, it was a cluster, right? You're like, how do I do this? Oh my gosh, I got to write an offer. Oh my gosh. Oh, Lance, how do I do this? Oh, I don't want to get sued. I'm going to get sued. This is going to fall through. I don't know what I'm doing. And so the first deal is always the hardest. And then you get a little better and a little better and a little better and a little better. The first video is always the worst. And the good news is you can always take it off the internet. The very first video I ever created no longer lives on the internet. There's a reason for that. It was terrible. I once pulled it out and showed it at one of our live events that we did for our clients because I was like, I want you to see this. And I started playing this, and it's 5 minutes. I can't even let the thing go 5 minutes. I let it go about 45 seconds, and the ums and the ahs and the and I was like, spit it out. Like, I just want to yell at myself, like, spit it out. What are you saying? So it's no longer on the internet for a very good reason. But now I can pump out video like crazy because I've done it over and over and over and over again. It's like anything else. Just start doing it. Because if you're worried about how you look on video, do you know who else is worried how you look on video or how they look on video? All of your competitors. They're all worried about it too. They're just happy somebody else is, they're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't do that. You're so brave. They don't look at you and judge you the way you judge yourself. You judge yourself. They don't judge you the way they're going, I can't believe she does that. Like, I could never do that. I can't believe he does that. I could never do that. And if they do judge you, I don't really give a crap. You know, I'm not going to be judged by somebody sitting on the sideline. So get off your butt, get in the game, and then if you want to judge me, maybe I'll listen. But until then, I'm not judging. I'm not listening to anything you have to say until I know you're competing, until I know you're playing. So organic YouTube is absolutely awesome. It is a killer strategy. And number 3, you got to shift the way you cultivate opportunities. So as the leads are coming in, here's what ends up happening. These leads are not referrals. Some of you are like, yeah, no kidding. But here's the problem. Too many people treat them like referrals, and then they wonder why they don't convert. They don't convert because what ends up happening is you start following up with them like you would follow up with a referral. You put the expectation of a referral or a past client onto a stranger. And it's like, well, I called them and they didn't call me back. I emailed them and they didn't email me back. I know. Because you have to take a different approach with them. They're not a referral. They haven't been pre-sold on you. You have to do more work. But when you do more work, you make more money if you understand how to get this going. And you can build systems around this. And so if you understand that they're not referrals, then I'm not going to get mad at them for not acting like referrals. And I can go, great, what do they need so that I can convert them into clients? So that from clients, I can convert them into closings, and those closings convert into commission checks, which is ultimately what I want. How do I do that? Is I understand that the cultivation game is completely different with generated leads than with referrals and past clients. So real quick, I wanted to put this up again so that you can grab it, because if you didn't get it last time, try and grab it this time. If not, snap a picture and you can get it a little later. But you still got the email. Okay, cool. That's good. So there you go. Now, here's the question. How will you provide value until somebody's ready to move forward? Cultivation is understanding that when somebody comes in, remember, they may be 6 to 26 months out from being ready to buy or sell, right? So what we have to do is we have to bring value and nurture that relationship, cultivate that relationship until they're ready to move forward. That's our goal as salespeople, as sales makers, because we got to make sales happen in this market. So if I'm going to do that, I gotta go, okay, how can I bring value to somebody? How can I get them value until they're ready to move forward? They're on their time frame, not my time frame. So if I can learn to operate on their time frame, bringing value to them, then when they're ready, they're much more likely to choose me. So here's what you need to understand: is there 7 different cultivation stages. This is why I told you want the slides. So here's what it is. Lead. A lead comes in, that's the very top left. Then the very first stage of conversion, the very first kind of conversion stage is a conversation. Then from there, the conversation, I'm trying to get an appointment. From the appointment, I'm trying to get buyer agency or a listing agreement signed. From there, I'm trying to get them under contract. From under contract, I'm trying to get them all the way to the closing table. And then from the closing table, after it's done, then I have to worry about post-sale cultivation. Continuing that relationship, that's where repeat and referral comes from. Repeat referral is the last stage on there. Because if I never get anybody to closing, can I get repeat business? No. So I got to get people to the closing table so I can have repeat business. So all of this stuff comes in, but here's what happens is most people, a lead comes in and they're trying to close them. They're like, can we just skip these other stages? It's like a dude at a bar in Vegas. It's like, what's up, baby? Here's my room key. It's like, I don't think that's going to go. And if it does, it's probably not going to go the way you want it to go. But I don't think that's going to go the way you think it's going to go. Because you haven't nurtured the relationship. There's no relationship there. They don't know you. They're not ready for this. So what we have to realize is we have to think in stages. If a lead comes in, what's the very first thing? And then we use sayings like this, like, call me when you're ready to buy or sell. Call me when you're ready to be here. Don't call me until you're ready to be here. But what if there's a lot of opportunities along the way to build a relationship, to nurture them, to provide value to them, to educate them, to help them, so that when they're ready to buy or sell, you're the one they call. You're the one they reach out to. So everything we're always doing is trying to push them towards closing. When do you want to see a home? When do you want to go with home? You want to go with home? Say, I got time right now. You want to go right now? And it's just coming from this place of desperation rather than this place of service. So if you understand this, is that, okay, when a lead comes in, what's the very first thing I'm just trying to do? Just have a conversation. All I want to do is I just want to talk to you. I don't need to meet with you. I don't need to hug you. We're not BFFs. I'm cool with that. Can we just talk? Then as we're talking, I'm trying to figure out, does it make sense to have an appointment? And then at the appointment, do I really want to work with this person? Because have you ever gone on an appointment and you're like, good heavens, no. I do not want to work with that person. They are weird. They're creepy. They're evil. They're the spawn of Satan. So that's what we're trying to figure out here. Do I even want the agreement? Then from there, I'm moving them down the pipeline. So if you understand the stages, you understand where a lead is at, where the opportunity is at, and now I can start to move things forward at a pace that makes sense for them and that makes sense for me. So here's what this looks like. There are 3 follow-up plans you need in order to work those 7 different stages. There's 3 follow-up plans you need. We're going to go through just one of them today, but I'm going to tell you what all 3 of them are. So number 1 is this, your short-term lead plan. So when a new lead comes in, you need a short-term follow-up strategy that is designed to identify hot leads. Hot leads are your right now business. This is your immediate income. I need to identify those hot leads, get them to an appointment. This is my immediate income. So I got to have a strategy for that. I got to have a game plan for that. So I'm going to show you something that I call, this is a strategy that we teach. Now, real quick, before I put this up on the screen, I had a fair word of warning. Some of you are going to have a mild heart attack. Hang with me. I promise I will explain it all, okay? So I'm going to put it up there. Trust me. 15 years I've been doing this. I know how this works. Some of you are like, there is no way I'm doing that, full stop. And I need you to hang with me because I promise you when you do it, you'll make more money. Real quick, how many of you want to 3x the number of deals you're doing right now with the leads you're already getting? Really? That's it? Okay. So the rest of you are going to be broke. But here's how you 3x your income right now. Promise you do this, you will 3x your income. 3x. You'll 3x your conversions. You'll 3x your income with the leads you're already getting. So here's what this looks like. A new lead comes in. That's the left square. New lead comes in. Day 1, the day the lead comes in, here's what you're going to do. You're going to make 2 calls with a voicemail. You're going to send 2 text messages, and you're going to send 2 emails on the first day. Right there, I already lost 99% of you. I know. Hang with me. I promise you this will all make sense. Then on day 2, you're going to make 2 calls with a voicemail. You're going to leave 1 to 2 text messages and 1 to 2 emails. That really ought to be video emails and or video text messages, but we'll talk about that in a second. So big fan of video for these, and I'll explain why. Day 3, 2 calls with a voicemail, 1 to 2 text messages, 1 to 3 emails, or 1 to 2 emails. And then if you don't hear back, it's okay. It's okay. You stop. You move on with your life. You put them into a long-term nurture sequence that we'll talk about. But ultimately, what you're going to do is you're trying to get a hold of them, recognizing that they're in the middle of life. And they fill out the form, but that doesn't mean they're sitting around going, I wonder when he's going to call. Wonder when she's going to call. I'm going to wait here until she calls. Oh, good. She's calling. Hi. That's not how they operate. Life goes on. So we need to keep that in mind. So here's what you're all thinking right now. So when I'm not doing this, I'm actually taking a mind reading course on a website, so I can read minds, and I know what you're thinking right now. So watch. Oops, that's the second one you're thinking. I'm going to tick them off, and they're not going to call me back. 2 calls a day? 2 calls a day? I'm going to piss them off, and they're not going to call me back. How many, be honest, you're thinking that? You're like, that's just going to piss people off, and they're not going to call me back, right? Newsflash. They're already not calling you back. May as well try pissing them off a little till they do. Just kidding. You're not going to piss anybody off. How many of you are in sales? Show of hands. How many are in sales? Okay, some of you still aren't sure. So everybody in here is in sales. If you said something that sounded like this, and this is the other thing people do, they're like, but with the voicemail, you know, what happened? Like, it's amazing the questions that come out. Like, well, one coach said not to leave a voicemail and to do what's called double dialing. So I call, if I get voicemail, I hang up, and then I call right back. I'm like, that is the surest way to get blocked by the FTC. They are cracking, that's called double dialing. Do not double dial. Do not double dial. The FTC is cracking, or FCC, excuse me, it's cracking down on people who are double dialing. Don't do that. And by the way, you're not a 16-year-old boy calling a girl for the first time. So it's like, oh my gosh, voicemail, click. Like, we're not 16-year-olds calling people for a date. You know, I had to do that back when there were things called answering machines that lived in homes where the entire family could hear me asking out Jennifer. So yes, I didn't want to leave a voicemail on her dad's voicemail answer machine at home. But nowadays, I don't have to worry about that. But I'm also not a 16-year-old boy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call. I'm going to say, hey, it's Travis. Got your request for information on 123 Main Street. Have some things I think you might really be interested in. Have a few quick questions. Give me a call back. If I don't hear from you, I'll try again a little later this afternoon, see if that's a better time. Also shoot you a text and an email in case that's better for you as well. Look forward to serving you. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk soon. So I made 3 promises right there. I'm going to call. I'm going to text. I'm going to email you. If I deliver on those 3 things, I've now created what's called commitment and consistency. I make a commitment, I'm consistent with my commitment. And now they're going, wow, he does what he says he's going to do. So when I call back, I can go, hey, it's Travis again, just following up like I promised I would. And I want to make sure that I do what I say that I'm going to do. And I'm not really saying that, but I'm just setting everything up so that I'm following up. And there's a very clear way to do it because you are sales professionals. Now, I had somebody ask me, like, well, what happens if I talk to them in the morning? Do I call them again in the afternoon? I'm like, no, that'd be weird. Like, I'm your new BFF. I'm your realtor for life. Like, that's why you got to say that. So the other thing people think about is like video, but I hate video. Here's the truth. They're going to see you anyway. May as well give them a heads up. Just saying. You know, the last thing you want to do is knock on the door and they're like, open the door expecting, you know, the 1985 glamour shot to show up. And they're like, oh, dear God, like, what? I think we're being robbed. I don't think it's her. Wow, it's been a tough year in real estate for you, has it? Oh my gosh, so sorry. Maybe you should drink less. I don't know. Sip of cocaine? Just kidding. They're going to see you anyway. And nobody cares what you look like or anything. And if they do care what you look like, are they your ideal client? No. Wouldn't you want to figure that out now versus getting down the road? I had somebody ask me, well, I have an accent. I think your accent's your superpower. I don't have an accent. I wish I had an accent. I'd be like Aussie or British if I had an accent. That'd be awesome. And I'm not going to try and fake an Aussie accent because I can't. Otherwise, I'd fake it all the time. I'd just pretend I have an Aussie accent. But I think all of this is about showing them who you are, creating connection, building relationship. That's what this is about. Now, the two other plans you're going to need. Number 2 is a long-term lead plan. This is how you're going to build relationships moving forward. So this is, how do you nurture the people who are not yet? These are the people, this is your pipeline. How do you build out your pipeline? This is what you're trying to do. And then third is your past client sphere of influence. So your short-term identifies your hot ones. Anybody who's not hot, they go into a long-term plan. Then after the deal is done, you've got to have a plan to nurture your past clients in your sphere of influence. But this is the key with your past clients and sphere of influence. Most people think that just because I served you well during the transaction, you're going to continue to be my client. You're my client for life. That's a big, giant assumption that's not accurate. You've got to deliver incredible you got to deliver incredible service, and you got to do something that really gets them to anchor in long term. So let me give you an example. I travel a lot. I speak a lot. And I was speaking at a conference up in Minneapolis, St. Paul. This is a number of years ago. I was hired to go up there, and I was hired to, speak to this group. And they put me up at this hotel chain called the Sofitel Hotel. And I had never stayed in one before. And they fly me into this hotel, and I expect what? When I go to a hotel, I expect clean rooms, friendly staff. Like, that's kind of all I expect. I don't need a whole lot of anything. I'm just there for a night most of the time, clean rooms, friendly staff. So I go stay at the hotel. Staff is clean, or staff is friendly, rooms are clean. I'm, checking in, I'm good to go. I don't call my friends and family and be like, bro, you'll never believe where I'm staying. The rooms are clean and the staff smiled at me. And they're like, where are you staying that's not normal? Like a truck stop motel with like a vibrating bed and chalk outlines? Like, I don't know why are you excited about that? So we never talk about what we get that we expect. We talk about things that exceed our expectations. So I go stay at this Sofitel Hotel. I pull up in the rental car, and they're like, I get there and I see a French flag waving. I'm like, oh, it must be French owned. See, I'm very smart. So I pull up to the valet, and he opens the door and he goes, bonjour, monsieur, welcome to the Sofitel Hotel. Only it's Minnesota, so he does it with a Minnesotan accent, right? He's like, bonjour, monsieur, don't you know, right? So that's what he does. That's it. That's my only accent. So he goes, monsieur, can I help you with your luggage? And I can't walk 5 feet without somebody going, monsieur, can I get this for you? Monsieur, can I get that for you? And so all of this is going, we're having a great time. And so I'm like, this is cute. This is nice. But I order a wake-up call for the next morning. And our wake-up calls ever pleasant experiences? No, they're horrible, life-sucking experiences. So I order this wake-up call. And in this wake-up call, it like goes off at like 4 a.m. And at 4 a.m., alarm goes off. What's the first thing I need? Coffee, right? I need coffee. And so I'm fumbling around for that in-room coffee maker. And I don't know about anybody else, but those things always kind of weird me out. It's just me. They're always like, I don't know how they're clean. Do they just walk in and go and like dust it off, or do they like actually clean it? So I'm making coffee because you can't generally get a cup of coffee anywhere in a hotel at 4 a.m. All of a sudden I hear a knock on my door. I'm like, who on earth is knocking on my door at 4 a.m. in the morning? So I open the door. I grab that robe that they like, again, I don't know if they're clean or not, but I grab the robe. So I put it on. I open the door, and standing there is a gentleman in a suit with a tray over his arm and 2 piping hot cups of coffee on the tray, not made on my in-room coffee maker. And I'm like, I may be asleep. I don't know what's going on here. And he goes, bonjour, monsieur. Would you like some freshly brewed cafe? I was like, yeah. But I didn't order this. And he goes, but you ordered a wake-up call. And I was like, oh. And he goes, so we just assumed you'd want some coffee. Would you like some coffee? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, can I get you anything else? I said, yeah, bring more. And I kicked the door shut. It's not 4 a.m. So I needed more coffee. So he comes back with more coffee. And I'm like, this is amazing. Now, how much did that cost them? 76 cents, and a dude with a fake French accent. It didn't take a lot, but I've told this story to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of agents now at this point, because they did something that far surpassed my expectations. See, creating referrals and building repeat business is about finding ways to deliver beyond somebody's expectations. We're never excited when our expectations are met. We're excited when our expectations are exceeded. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want, is we want to exceed expectations. So after the deal is done, how can you exceed expectations? What are the things you can do to stay in relationship, build relationship, far beyond just calling them once a year and going, hey, how's it going? Do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell? But what are you doing to actually deliver beyond their expectations during the sale and after the sale? Those are the things we want to be doing. And then number 4, you need to shift the way you handle objections. How are we on time? I realize my clock is set to the wrong time zone. So you guys got like 15 more minutes? Okay. How many want to know how to handle objections right now? Cool. All right. So I'm going to show you a whole framework for handling any objection. I'm going to help you handle the number 1 objection most agents are getting, which is I'm going to wait till interest rates come down, or I'm going to wait till home prices come down. We're going to walk through it in real time. So here's the thing. There's 3 little keys, little known keys to objection handling. We're going to move through this fast. Number 1, your mindset and beliefs matter more than your script. I can tell you word for word exactly what to say, and if you say it with no belief behind it, it will not work. What I'm going to give you are not magic words. It's not, there's some power to them, but it's not, the power isn't in them. The power is in you doing it the right way from the right heart and the right perspective. That's what makes the difference. So what is the dominant emotion in the world right now? The single dominant emotion in the world right now. Do you know what it is? Fear. The number 1 emotion in the world right now. So how do we combat that? Confidence and certainty. You have to be massively confident and certain in what you're saying to offset their fear so that they can move forward. Because when they're giving you an objection generally is coming from a place of fear. So you have to outweigh their fear with your confidence and your certainty. So here's the question you need to be able to answer. Why is right now genuinely a great time to buy or sell for the right person? Not for everybody. This isn't the blanket like, oh, you want to buy, it's a great time to be a buyer. Oh, you want a great time to be a seller. No, it's the right time to be a buyer or seller for the right person. It can be a great time, but you have to know how to explain that and why to explain it. Like, why is it a great time to be a buyer right now for the right person? Or seller right now for the right person. If you can't explain that, you're going to struggle with the objections, as I'm going to show you. Number 2, you must become the market expert. You must become the most people think they're market experts and they're not. Just going to tell you that. So if I were to ask most agents, and I'm not going to do this right now, just spot check. A lot of times what I can do is I can go, in your market, how many homes sold in the last 12 months? And most people go, I don't know. I think maybe about this. How many homes are going to sell approximately in the next 12 months? I don't really, maybe about this. Well, what's the average days on market? I think it's this. So it's not really a command of the data or the information. You need to command it, and I'll show you why. So what is a market expert? They know their numbers. You need to know your numbers. What is your average days on market? What is your average list to sale ratio? What is what is your average buy to sale ratio? You need to know your market numbers, like down to a T. Know them very, very accurately. Stay up to date with economic forecasts from reputable economists and be able to clearly communicate what things mean to them and their situation. That's what a market expert does. Just being in the business for 15 years doesn't make you a market expert. It makes you maybe really good at the real estate process, but that's different than being a market expert. They're 2 different skill sets. I want you to be a market expert. So here's what this looks like. Number 3, you're then going to reframe what an objection means to you. What does an objection mean to you? Most people hear objection are like, oh, they view conflict. They view an objection as conflict. That's why they view sales as conflict. It's not. Sales is service. And an objection isn't conflict. Or an objection is literally not a no. It's either a not yet or a request for more clarity. They're not saying no. They're saying either not yet or I need more clarity. I need more understanding. It's not about you. It's about me. I have questions. I'm uncertain. I have fear. I have anxiety. I have doubt. It's not you that I'm objecting to. It's that I don't know that I'm ready to move forward and I need help trying to figure that out. That's what an objection is. Does that make sense? So the minute you reframe that, things become a lot easier. They stem from the questions regarding the consequences, good or bad, of a decision. So are there good consequences to buying right now? Yes. Are there bad consequences to buying right now? Yes. Are there good consequences to selling right now? Yes. Are there bad consequences? All decisions have a good and a bad. But what ends up happening is the objection comes because if all I see is the good of staying put and the bad of moving, or the good of renting and the bad of buying, the good of not selling versus the bad of selling. If all I see is one side of the equation, I can't make a complete decision. I have to understand that, yes, there are good things about staying put. There's also bad things about staying put. And yes, there may be some potential consequences of moving, but there's actually more good of actually making that move. My job is to help you see the entire equation so that then you can make a truly informed decision. That's what a salesperson does. That's what objection handling is. It's not forcing you to do something you don't want to do. It's giving you a complete picture so that you can make a truly informed decision that is in your best interest, in your finances, in your personal life, and in your real estate life. Does that make sense? So that's what we're trying to do. So your job is to figure out their questions, then help them understand the real consequences of each decision. There's 6 stages. We're going to move through these very quickly. I'm not going to leave this up here because we'll just go through. 6 stages of objection handling. So here's the objection. We're going to wait till prices or interest rates drop. We've decided to wait until prices drop or interest rates drop. One or the other, you can handle them almost exactly the same way. So here's what this looks like. Most people, they're trained to objection handle that when they say this, you say this. And so it becomes like this gotcha, where it's like they go, well, we're going to wait till interest rates drop. Well, you know, if you wait till interest rates drop, did you know you're actually more likely to pay more? And then they just go off on this pre-rehearsed script. And the minute they do that, there's this whole energy shift in the room. Because now it is literally, you're on this side of the table, I'm on this side of the table, and now we're arguing with each other. I don't want to do that. We're on the same side of the table. We're looking at the same problem together. We're just trying to figure out what the best thing is for you guys. And I'm okay either way because I'm not opposed to you. I'm with you. That's the energy I want to bring to this. So what happens is when an objection is lobbed into a room or into a thing, what happens to the energy in the room? It gets very tense. Their heart rate goes up, their breathing shallows, your heart rate goes up, your breathing shallows, cortisol is released into the brain and everybody gets dumb. That's what happens. You can't think creatively when cortisol is flooding through your brain because you're in a stress response. So what I have to do is I have to get us out of the stress response. So the minute they lob the objection, they're like, oh, here it comes, I'm going to be handled. And so what I want to do is I want to go, okay. Like, honestly, guys, that's not a problem. Sure. You know, that could actually make sense. Because I'm not responding in the way they think I'm going to respond. All of a sudden they go, well, what do you mean? Really? Why do you say that? Now they're back in the game. Their stress response is down. My stress response is down because I'm not stressed about this. It's just a conversation. So I'm diffusing the bomb, the energy bomb that got lobbed into the room, dropping the cortisol levels of everybody, which shuts down the right side of the brain, the creative side of the brain. So now the cortisol levels come down, the right side of the brain comes back, and now we can be creative and have a conversation. But you know, that might actually make sense. So as soon as I do that, they're going to go, really? Yeah. I should probably ask, though, or it might help me to understand. These are just different ways to say the same thing. Don't say them all. Just giving you examples. Somebody like, do I say all of it? No, just pick one that sounds, people are always like, but that doesn't sound like me. Right, because I wrote it. But I gave you alternatives. But the idea is the same. Do you mind if I ask? I mean, what's got you guys considering that possible option? I don't need to defend something. I need to know why they're thinking that way. That helps me understand. That helps them understand. So now I can hear, well, my father-in-law, he said, or, you know, and you're like, don't listen to your parents. Then, or it's like, well, I was on YouTube and there was this guy and he was saying the real estate market's going to crash, and I was on TikTok. Like, I just need to know what's got you thinking in that direction. Are they just frustrated? Are they just feeling like maybe they're not going to find anything? Like, is it a legitimate objection? Like, is it a condition, or is it just a concern? Because there are some things that are conditions. I lost my job. All the objection handling in the world isn't going to fix the fact that they lost a job and they can't qualify. That's a condition. Or is it a concern? If it's a condition, there's nothing I can do. If it's a concern, that's where I can help address the concern, because you're only looking at half the equation. Maybe. So once I hear that, then what I can do is I can say, okay, boy, this tech is just magnificent. Then I can ask permission to reframe. So maybe what they goes, well, I've been hearing that the markets, they're saying interest rates are going to drop in the next couple of months, and they're saying the Fed's going to drop interest rates. So we're kind of thinking we're going to wait until the Fed drops interest rates, and then we'll keep looking, and then we'll keep doing these things. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. So now I understand where you're coming from. I guess, do you mind if I offer another perspective? Or would you be opposed to me maybe offering you another perspective on this? Most people don't want to be viewed as oppositional. So they'll be like, well, yeah, sure. What's your perspective? Or do you mind if I offer you another, not a different perspective, another perspective, just another? 99 times out of 100, they're going to go, well, yeah, sure. Because you're the expert. That's why they were working with you. So at that point, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I'm just going to, this remote tech's not wanting to work. So here's what I'm going to say is like, well, have you guys considered the possible ramifications? Or do you mind if I ask if you've given any consideration to what actually happens if interest rates come down like you're expecting in the next couple of months? Notice I'm making the thing they want to have happen, the thing they're waiting for, the potential problem that isn't going to actually work in their favor. I'm going to have you actually thought about what might happen if interest rates, in fact, do come down in the next couple of months like you're hoping for? They're going to go, well, no. What do you mean by that? And so now here's where I'm going to offer my perspective. So here's what I'm asking, guys, because you may be right to wait if what we're talking about is a qualification issue. If it's a qualification issue, you may be right to wait. But if it's not, there could be some unintended consequences that I want you to be aware of, simply so you can make an informed decision. Do you mind if I share those with you? They're going to go, yeah, please. Okay, and here's the key. Let me apologize in advance because some of the stuff is kind of boring, guys, but oftentimes it's the boring stuff that can make us the most money, right? So I'm letting them know we're going to get a little heady here, but I need you to pay attention. I'm also letting them know if they get confused, if they don't understand, I don't want them to feel dumb, because if they feel dumb, they won't move forward. But if I help them understand that, hey, this stuff can be kind of boring, there's a lot of numbers and stuff, but I'm going to explain it to you. And if I'm doing a bad job, you let me know. Like, put it on yourself. You're not dumb. I'm not doing a great job explaining it if you're not understanding it. So stay in the game. That's what I want them to do. Stay in the game. Stay connected to me. So I'm letting them know what's going on. So then here's what I'm going to do. So let's just take interest rates coming down. So if I'm like, okay, so they're going to go, okay, so I'm going to go. So here's the deal. You're right. The Fed is saying that they're going to bring interest rates down, but have you heard what economists are predicting might actually happen when they do that? Well, no. So what they're saying is that when interest rates come down, there's a lot of buyers just like you sitting on the sidelines right now waiting for that moment. And when they come on the market, what it's going to do is it's going to flood the market with buyers, not necessarily with inventory right away. And what they're predicting is the prices on the homes that you're looking at right now could shoot up. And remember the multiple offer situation we were dealing with a couple months ago or a couple years ago? I'm not saying we're going to get back to that same scenario, but it's possible we could be back in multiple offer situations where homes are getting bid up, maybe even more than asking. And so you're right. While you may be better to wait if it's a qualification issue, my concern is that, yes, you may have a lower interest rate, but now you're paying more for a house that you could have gotten today at a slightly higher interest rate. And here's the key. Here's the key. Had you bought it today, you would benefit from the appreciation in equity when that happens, versus buying at a new high and not getting any of the equity value. So the little bit of savings you might have every single month, it's going to take years, if not decades, to offset the growth in the value of the asset that you're going to lose. And again, you can always refinance down the road into a lower rate if you want to. But my concern is that if you wait, you're now getting back into a situation where the competition is going to be so much higher. And my concern for you guys is that not only will you pay more for the house, you'll have less equity in the house. And there may be even be homes that you like right now that you will no longer qualify for once they escalate in price, because it may escalate out of what you're currently qualified to purchase and approved to purchase. And I can go into more depth on that. I can go as deep as I want, all of that. But is what I'm saying making sense? I'm using the thing that they're waiting for as the reason why they actually need to not stay put potentially and make the move. I'm giving them an out. If you're not qualified, just let me know. There's no shame. But if it's not a qualification issue, have you considered both sides of this? Now they have a complete picture. So now I can go, I guess I should probably ask here, did what I laid out, did all that make sense, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer? Did that all make sense? Great. Do you see how it might actually put you in a deficit to wait if you're thinking rates may be coming down soon? So once they say, yeah, I guess we hadn't really thought about it that way. Now you do what's called closed loop. So you go here. So guys, based on that, I mean, at this point, where do you want to go from here? I don't need I can do sharp angle closes, Ben Franklin closes. I've been teaching sales for decades. I know how to sell, but I don't want to sell. I want them to make the decision, because if they make the decision, who owns the decision? They do. Not me. I didn't force you to do anything. Given that, where do you guys want to go from here? Or given that, do you want to keep seeing what's out there right now, or at least, consider going to continue to look while we're doing this? Or where would you like to go from here? So no matter what, I'm putting the ball back in their court. I'm not pressuring you. Now you have a whole picture. You know the good of staying and the bad of staying. You know the bad of moving, but now you also know the good of moving. That's what I need them to see, is the full picture. Now they can make an informed decision. So here's the deal, guys. Now you have a choice. Now you have a choice. There are order takers in this market. And if you're retired and you want to be an order taker, God bless you. Like, you're kind of in that season and you're like, I'm selling what I want to sell. That's fine. Like, God bless you. But the people who are going to thrive, the people who are going to win, are going to be those who move from order taker to sales maker. And my question is that going to be you? Because if you go out and you put in everything that I just showed you how to do, I promise you, you will increase your lead flow, you'll increase your conversion, you'll increase your income, you'll increase your consistency, and you'll increase your predictability. But it's a lot of work. And I was sitting at dinner last night with your leadership, and we were talking about this, and they said, where do you see the industry going? And I said, what's really interesting, and I used the phrase targeted solutions. I said, I believe what this industry needs are more targeted solutions, where, not everything can take 6 months or a year to get in place. Sometimes we just need things right now that are going to generate results, generate business, generate conversions, generate clients. And so as I got back to the hotel room last night, I called my team and I said, I want to put something together for this group. And they said, what are you thinking? I said, I want to bundle some of our trainings and just fire sale them to this group. Like, I really like the leadership team. I'm really grateful for being here, and I want to help. I actually want to bring the targeted solutions to you guys. So everything I laid out, you can do it all. Like, I've given you everything you need. You know what you need to put in place, and I can help you do it. And if you want my help, here's what this looks like. What I've done is I've put together what I'm calling the High Performance Agent Platinum Bundle. So this is basically us doing the work for you, in a sense, or giving you everything you need, like all the scripts, all the templates, all the tools. All you got to do is plug it in. All the training, so you know how to do it, the Z Buyer. So here's what's in this. It's everything, guys. It's all the training. So our Z Buyer Mastery program, it's a $297 program. That's going to be in this. Our buying and closing old leads, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, the script to convert those old leads, how to get agents to agree to it inside the office, outside the office. That's a $297 program. We have our 3-day follow-up mastery program. That's a $397 program. That's all the scripts, all the templates, everything you need so you understand how it works, video scripts, everything like that. Listing mastery. So this is our entire listing process. What we send out before the listing, what happens during the listing appointment, our listing presentation, how to handle things with the commission changes, all of that. And our new program that we just released this year called Ultimate Commission Mastery. It's all the buyer agency scripts, all the listing agent scripts, all the objection handling, everything that comes up, all that is in there as well. It's $397. So the total investment for everything is just $1,785. But I am not going to ask you to do that. But all these programs, if you were to buy them, would total of $1,785. If you would like to get them, here's what I'm going to do for your group. Because of because of Shane, because of Lance, because of Matt, because of your incredible leadership team and our conversation last night, this is what our team has put together, is we're dropping that down to $97 today. You get all, I know, literally $97. Guys, this is my cost, basically. But I want to help you guys. I've enjoyed being with you guys. I've enjoyed the opportunity to be here. If you want to grab that, do that. Now, here's one other thing. We are releasing a YouTube training that walks through how to get YouTube to generate you a bunch of leads. That's all up on the page as well. I added that this morning, so the team dropped that up there. So it's not, we're actually building the program out right now. Releases next month. When it releases, it will be at least a $397 product when it releases. You want to add that, you don't have to, but if you want to add it, you can do that on the page. It's $47 to add that. And it's the whole YouTube training, videos to create, technology you're going to need, how to create a content calendar, how to structure your content so you get one video that produces into like 5 to 7 different videos on top of that, how to set up YouTube. All of that is in there. If you want to grab that, it's a killer program. We've been releasing it to our clients right now, and they're loving it, absolutely loving it. So we'll give that to you for an extra $47. You can just check the box and add that if you want. But again, today only, and then it goes away. So if you want to grab that, you can grab that. So guys, let me ask you, and guys on video, you can do that as well. Was today helpful? Was today valuable? Yeah. Awesome. I know we covered a lot of ground today. Appreciate you guys hanging with me. You're absolutely awesome. Big thank you to your leadership team. I don't think you guys realize how awesome your leadership team is. I travel all over the country. Just thank them. You've got an incredible, incredible leadership team. So you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a great week, you guys. Hey.
Everybody can come.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Travis, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Travis, come in. Thanks for taking time to do this meeting.
Oh, okay. Let's try this again. That didn't work so well with the YPN deal, so. But, yeah, thanks again, Travis. We had a quote here that Lance gave us that I thought that was really cool. And, the magic in what you want to do is in the work that you're avoiding. And that really hit home for me. As things aren't the same as they were a few years ago, things aren't as easy. Now's a good time to get into your business and create those lines and really see what's working from a profit and loss standpoint, the ROI that he was talking about, right? One thing that Travis said yesterday that he really didn't touch on today, but I want to say it because, man, it really hit home, is a lot of our referrals, a lot of our repeat business, we kind of mortgaged over the last 6 years, right? We got more of it than we're used to. And those people who move every 7 to 8 years or whatever it is, they move 2 to 3 years, right? Those people you sold homes to, we had a lot of appreciation and they moved. So a lot of those that you were going to get this year, next year, you got during those really hot months. So we got to do more things to create more leads, create more connections, right? So again, I appreciate you all coming. Is there anything anybody else wants to add? Want to take some pics with Travis? Yep. Yeah, before we leave, the one thing we had Travis here is because we wanted what he said, that targeted solutions. What can you leave here with today and implement that's going to have an immediate impact? And I thought you nailed it, man. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Lance?
He will be back in October for the Iowa Association convention at the Marriott.
Look at that. Look at that.
So, be good.
Yep. Oh, awesome. I will look forward to seeing you there then too. All right. All right. Thank you all. Awesome. I mean, doing this 30 years and I'm like, what am I?